All right, let's go ahead and look at the basics of the Mac operating system. When you first log in, you're going to have the blank desktop, and this is known as the Finder. And whatever application you're in is going to show up to the right of the Apple. So you can also get to the Finder in the Finder icon at the bottom. Now, as I said in class, I have a whole lot more on my dock than we have in class. So just take that with a grain of salt. To find, your applications, you can go into whatever either server is mounted, or you can look, in your trash. And I don't have it here. I have the downloads instead of the apps, but you can click there to get to your apps, and everything's going to show up under your favorites. So all of your apps, all of your apps. And that's one of the maddening things with learning, I think, Macs, right off the bat, is there is so many ways to navigate through the systems. You in class have Google Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. So if you wanted to go to Safari, which is the only one I have on this computer, just scroll down, click, double click, and then you're going to be able to have Safari. So to go to Frederick, and then I'm not sure how you guys as a student go into Blackboard, but then you're able to access your Blackboard or what have you from here. All of our files, and I guess I will log in, at least for our first project, and I will get into that one. I'm just going to grab any of these because the 111s are all set up the same. Under our course materials, you can access the files by going to Unit 1. And this first one is what you'll want. Illustrator Tutorial File Asset Download. When you click on that, allow it, it's going to show that it's downloading up here at the top. Once it works through its cycle, then again, this depends on how fast or slow your connection is. Let it do its job, and it's coming to, I have my downloads down here so that I'm able to see them. It bounces when it's done. I believe ours in the classroom automatically unzips it, but if it doesn't, what you want to do is double click, and then the files are going to show up. So our first ones are going to be Pear, Starting Out, and Yay Illustrator. If you are done with a window in a Mac, you can close it. You can use Command W to close it. You can minimize it, and it goes to the right of the dock, or you can expand it so it takes over your full screen. I'm going to say, at least for the windows that pop open, this might be a little problematic because it's going to hide what you're working on in others. So I usually keep mine, sort of around this size so that I can still see what's happening around it, but still be able to comfortably navigate through it. What we went over in our first class was the different view styles. So I use the Cascade because that's what works best for me. We also have the icons, that works. The lists, this works. And what's nice with this is you can click like on a PC as the date modified or what kind it is so that you can find something a little bit faster, or of course via name. If you're using this system, let's say we want to open Photoshop, double click, and then it'll work through its cycle. And you want to stay towards the left side of the mouse, not the right side of the mouse. The Cascade window, then that one, just so if it's going to be InDesign and I want to look at my fonts, it would just keep trickling down from there. This one is sort of like the old school iTunes. So if we had something here, so let's go to apps, and I'll switch it to this. It's going to show it as the folder, so you can navigate sort of visually through this one if you wanted, or if you use your up and down arrow, you can navigate that way. So if you're more of a visual large icon person, this one might be nice for you. That way you can sort of boop, 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 pop through all of them. But I always recommend experiment through all of them and see which one actually works best for you. Applications are going to have all of our applications. The downloads are going to have all of our downloads. If you had, and I don't have one here, your thumb drive is going to show up here, or your external, whichever system you're going to be using, and our servers, which mine is not connected, would show up here also. If you had a file on the desktop, that will show up on your desktop. If you're working at home, the documents, it'll show, you know, what files you've been working on. You can save to your documents at home. I would just recommend keeping everything on your thumb drive while you're at school. So you can close this window, you can shrink this window. I'm just going to leave it on downloads and I'll shrink it. Photoshop, it's going to look the same. It has the close, the minimize, the expand. If we want it to quit, which we do, you can see there's a shortcut, Command Q. You can do that because we're not going to use Photoshop till, you know, a couple weeks in on the term. And then if you wanted, you could have Illustrator open, and then we can get started on that demo.